Today's I'll be talking about Dr. Anand P. Ambali. He's a professor of medicine at BLD, Sri B.M. Patil Medical College, Hospital and Research Center, Vijaypura. He has established geriatric clinic in the year 2007. He has established dementia clinic in 2014 and immunological clinic in 2019. He is a recipient of State Award 2016 from Government of Karnataka for his best geriatric services. He is a fellow of ICP, GSI, Royal College of Physicians, Edinburgh, and scholar of Commonwealth Commission UK for MSc in Dementia from University of Stirling, Scotland. He has over 75 publications and 3 fellowships to his credit, and is on editorial board of various journals and has authored 2 books as co-editor and associate editor. He has consultancy services to NPHSC, Tata Trust, Nightingale Trust, MPH courses BLD University, BLD Institute of Nursing, Geriatric Society of India, District Committee for Prevention of Elderly Abuse, and Group for Education and Research in Geriatrics. He has over 5 orations, awareness talks for seniors around 22, and he has conducted 22 health checkup camps. I welcome you, sir. I hand over the mic to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes.
Are my screens visible to all the audience?
Yes. Your skin is not there. Skin is not there.
It is not there.
You are visible.
Okay, I will try. Fine. Very good afternoon to all of you, and respected chairpersons, moderators, and honorable members of the Geriatric Society of India. Very good afternoon to all of you, and I thank the Department of Medicine, SDM College, for giving me this privileged opportunity. I also congratulate the young and enthusiastic team of Department of Medicine, and also thank Dr. Kiran, Dr. Naveen, Dr. Mohan, and all the team members for giving me this opportunity. So without taking much of time, we'll just touch upon the concepts of immunization in elderly population. I think now I'm able to share my screen properly.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So I bring greetings to you from the geriatric clinic. Way back in 2007, we started the geriatric clinic, and we have now reached even the rural population. So in next 18 to 20 minutes, I shall touch upon the important topics concerned to immunosenescence. What are the guidelines for immunization in older people regarding individual vaccines, the adverse effects, what are the various issues that a physician faces when we go for immunization, and what is evidence for the benefit of the immunization in elderly population, and a few of our activities. So this is a photograph of a vaccination pottage, which was started by the Edward Jenner in England way back, and I just like to quote Anonymous that in the 19th century, men lost their fear of God and acquired a fear of microbes, unquote. So I think this is very much true because still we are losing people for non-communicable diseases like pneumonia even in the 21st century. So looking at the historical background, we have seen that Indian Buddhists used to drink snake venom in an attempt to become immune to its effects. So that was how the concepts of immunization started there. In 16th century, Indian Brahmins practices variolation. So that was again introduction of dried pus. There was smallpox pustules in the skin of the patients that was practiced. Now coming to the basic pathophysiology like immunosenescence, which was introduced by Roy, it suggests that there is a diminished function with the age of the immune system. This leads to a decline in response to the infection by both innate and adaptive immune systems. So, however, how exactly this process acts, we are still not clear. Now, by using the vaccines, we are going to elevate the level of reduce the immunosenescence, because there is an elevated susceptibility to infections in the old persons. The infections, when they acquire, it will be staying for a long time in them. They have poor prognosis. And some say that there is a decreased protective effects of vaccination because of immunosenescence. Yes, to some extent it is true. Now, how to overcome all those things we will discuss in next 15 minutes. What are the various issues that a clinician and the patients come across? From the clinician point of view, most of them keep telling that efficacy is low. Why should we use all those? The full production is not seen. Antibody response after vaccinations are very low, and antibody titer decline rapidly. So is it with all vaccines? Even if you take the latest corona vaccine, it's the same. It's true with that. So we nowadays the ICMR even don't bother to, they say don't go for assessment of antibodies post vaccination. So full protection is not seen in most of the vaccines, but there is again the booster dose possibilities are there, so we can always expose for those things. From the patient's point of view, the cost factor, way back the influenza vaccine used to cost 300 rupees, now it costs 1,350. So no doctor has told me so far. This is what the patient comes and tells us when we tell them that we have a vaccination drive for you, and so far nobody has told it. Now because of this corona vaccine, I don't think there will be such questions from the patients, because they are now aware that there is something called vaccine and it is benefit for the patients as well. So why we should consider immunization in older people? Because they present a challenge for the public healthcare system, and when we claim that the longevity is increased because of the health services that are available for the older people and even the youngsters, that is how the older people are living older. So this again can help prevent the preventable infections and prolong life. Most of the older people are now undergoing major surgeries like implants, transplants and bypass. So for them also it is mandatory to be protected from various infections that can. Now influenza and pneumococcal pneumonia are very common, and they are among the 10 major causes of death in the elderly across the world. So healthy aging, if we want in our older parents or grandparents, we must consider immunizing them, because the burden and the potential suffering caused by this pneumonia can be reduced in the given population. Even World Health Organization estimated that mortality associated with lower respiratory infection is twice higher in older adults than in children. So there is no doubt that there is a large evidence to say that we must immunize our older people that are above 60 years. Now looking at the guidelines, yes, the Association of Physicians of India has got the guidelines, US FDA, CDC releases the guideline every year. Association of Physicians of India has brought this guideline which I was showing in the 2009, and the Geriatric Society of India also has brought the guidelines for immunization against elderly and has presented to the Government of India for consultation in 2015. Now, what is the immunization schedule for the elderly? So, the older people at the age of 60 and above must receive these following vaccines: tetanus or TD, tetanus diphtheria toxin, one dose after age 60 years. Pneumococcal vaccine, one dose after age of 60 years, and booster is recommended after 5 years in certain patients like renal failure and cardiac failure. Influenza vaccine should be given once in a year, preferably in the month of October. Hepatitis B, 3 doses at the rate of 0, 1, 2, same as in adults. Herpes zoster vaccine once anytime after attaining the age of 60 years. And now we are all aware about the Covishield with 0 and 84 days we have to give. This is an immunization schedule for older people, those who attain the age of 60 years. Now coming to individual vaccines, tetanus at the age of 60 years, booster can be given once after every 10 years, 0.5 ml intramuscular. Zoster vaccine is very important because most of the older people are having multiple comorbidities like diabetes, HIV, malignancies, on chemotherapy drugs, so they are more prone to develop varicella infection. So post-herpetic neuralgia again is and very debilitating in the older people. It lasts for 6 months to 1 year, the pain they suffer, and vaccine is found to reduce the severity of herpes infection in the older people and those who have got vaccinated. So it is available in the Zostavax formulation, 0.65 ml is given subcutaneous, deltoid, and one thing all of us should remember, it is a live attenuated vaccine, authenticated in patient receiving steroids, immunodeficient conditions, and active untreated tuberculosis. Pneumococcal vaccine are available in two forms. One is a conjugate vaccine, that is PCV13, and another is polysaccharide vaccine, PPV23. So always you should begin with the PCV first dose at the age of 60, and after 1 year, the pneumococcal polysaccharide vaccine can be given after 1 year in the 0.5 intramuscular deltoid. So these vaccines can be started at any age group. after 60 years. Even diabetes, we recommend at the age of 50, 55. So above elderly 60 years, they can be given at any age, maybe 70, 75 or 80 as well. So first give PCV vaccine 13 and after 1 year go for polysaccharide vaccine. And PCV 13 is not recommended for revaccination, whereas after 5 years, where we recommend revised revaccination, only polysaccharide vaccine can be given. The greatest advantage of this vaccine, it does not only prevents pneumonia, but also prevents meningitis and bacteremia in the older people. Coming to the influenza vaccine, nowadays it is very good that we are having quadrivalent influenza vaccine to prevent pneumonia in the population. The last 2 years we are getting quadrivalent. So the peculiarity is when given to the older people who are in hospital, it has a 60% preventive and 80% reduction in mortality compared to the community dwelling. That was a very study found in 2005. Now again, influenza is given in 0.5 ml deltoid intramuscular single dose, and every year, preferably in October, because we get the new strain of the influenza vaccines preferably in the month of October. Now hepatitis B, as all we know, that is 0, 1, 2, 3 doses intramuscular 0.5 ml. And COVID vaccine, we are all aware that Covaxin, Moderna, Sputnik, all are available now at 0 and 84 and 0 and 21 days intramuscular. Now what are the adverse effects? So the adverse effects are very, very few. In my genetic clinic, we are doing from 2016 at the community level, in mass level, where 60 to 70 older people are given vaccine. We have not come across a single local even reaction. And common reactions are liver-pathy, fever, headache, vomiting, and neurological events like seizures, Guillain-Barré syndrome, and syncope. So allergic reactions like anaphylaxis are very common. So they are very less common in the given populations. Now, when we practice immunization in the older people, we have to take precautions as we have taken for any other vaccines. So these vaccines are contraindicated that who have confirmed anaphylaxis to the previous vaccine when they have been vaccinated earlier. Then they say that history of egg allergy, because nowadays we don't get the older people who have been eating egg in childhood, so it's difficult to get the history of egg allergy in the elderly population. And if alcohol disinfectant used for cleaning the skin, it should be allowed to evaporate before you inoculate the injection. And once reconstituted the vaccine, it should be used immediately. And the vaccine must be discarded if not used within 30 minutes. And most importantly, as a clinician, we should have an emergency drugs kit in our hospital when we are giving vaccines. And of course, the older person is made to sit for at least 15 to 20 minutes before he is allowed to leave the hospital after receiving the vaccine. That may be to observe for the SIMCO. Now there is an online reporting system of adverse effects by CDC. We can, that's the ways, and any doctor clinician comes across event of adverse event, he can directly report with the batch number of the vaccine online. Now there are so many vaccines available. Can 2 vaccines be given on the same day? So older people, in elderly, we can give pneumovax and influenza on the same day, yes. We cannot combine pneumococcal vaccine with the Zostavax, and we should also not give PCV13 and PPSV23 on the same day. So only 2 vaccines can be given on the same day, pneumovax and influenza. Rest all, there should be a gap of at least 3 months to 6 months. Now what is the evidence? The evidence, there is enough evidence to say that vaccine does protect older people from non-communicable diseases, and it has not only in patient as well as in the community outbreak. So during the influenza outbreak, the benefit of pneumococcal and influenza vaccination showed additive. That's what has been published in Thorax. And in the long-stay geriatric hospital in Austria, they showed that vaccination significantly decreased the risk of pneumonia and deaths. And most importantly, as far as influenza vaccine is concerned, every year if you go on giving a vaccine, that has an additive protective effect on the elder population than just giving once in a year and stopping it. In looking at the Indian studies, the IDS data has brought down good coverage of adult serotypes in India by 23 PPSV vaccine in Indian elderly, that is published in the JAPI. So a study conducted again between 2 years in 2000, significant reduction in hospitalization for the cardiac disease. This is very important. So all the patients who are having cardiac failure, cardiac disease, cirrhosis of liver, renal failure, they will have a reduced evidence or reduction in the burden of the pneumonia in those patients, and that improves the quality of life. So just looking at our activities, we have been doing for last 14 years, but since 2016 we went community on a large scale, and every year we have been doing these activities for the senior citizens. In 2017 we did a camp, again in 18 to commemorate the World Immunization Week, we did a lot of camps. In 2019 we brought the unique concept of immunization clinic exclusively for senior citizens. So we here at BLD Medical College, Sri B M Patel Medical College Geriatric Clinic, we procure the vaccines and ensure that our older people receive the vaccine as and when they come. And that is what we had the concept, and it was inaugurated by a 92-year-old national awardee. He inaugurated this, and there was a very good response from the senior citizens as far as vaccines concerned. 2019 we had again 70 people having vaccine for influenza vaccine. 2020, despite COVID fear, large number of older people came to receive influenza vaccine in our hospital. And our geriatric clinic is also part of guidelines which we have printed and published to the Geriatric Society of India and promoted to the government of India. Now we also have brought some original articles on immunization status and awareness among elderly living with diabetes. What are the studies? It is also published. We also have recently projected our activities and our experiences at the Epicon 2020. One of my PG, Priyanka, she did one study on how all this 5 years data, and we presented at the Epicon as well. So as a physician, what we can do is we have to create awareness in public. Whether it is a COPD case in the hospital or a cirrhosis of liver, any elderly patient, even without having any disease as well, we can just tell him that there are vaccines available and you can have it now. So let it begin in our home. So let all physicians give the vaccines to their parents and the grandparents, and then we will take to the patient. So anybody, any physician can start a vaccination center at their clinic, provided they have set up to treat the emergencies in case it occurs. So the take-home message is the immunization in elderly is a need of our, and there is a lot of scope of research for the young postgrad students and the students, especially through ICMR. And protection in the older people comes by regular immunization. It's not that I have taken immunization 2 years back, and no, we have to keep taking the vaccines and their regularly, especially the influenza vaccine every year and pneumococcal vaccine once in 5 years, so that it gives a good protection. And of course, there is a hindrances from the senior citizens that is very costly, and we are not sure, my son may not pay for that, all those things. We have to counsel them. And one of my friends always used to say, vaccine delayed is a vaccine denied. So we should not deny our older people or senior citizens against the vaccine. At least we'll give them, we'll create awareness whether to take, and we motivate them to have this vaccine. So I have put this banner in my hospital that I have immunized my parents, have you? So this has created a lot of positive impact in the patients, and even adult patients, they come and keep asking about, can I bring my parents for vaccine? So this is the small attempts we are doing to ensure that our older people get the vaccines at the right time, and we can prevent the preventable disease in them. So with just a quote that ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, I just like to thank all of you for this patience hearing, and if there are any questions I will be happy to take. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very nice and informative talk and very inspirational talk. Questions and answer will be taken after the second session.